Okay, hello everybody. Interesting story for today. So I used to do this daily podcast every day for almost 2 years. And my whole life was turned upside down, as many of yours was, by the entire COVID epidemic that happened. And what COVID did was it exposed to me things that I thought were true, that I figured out were not true, and then I was having a hard time deciphering what was true, and then it feels like everybody was trying their best to stop the truth or manipulate the truth. And so I made this conscious decision to pull back because I knew that I had a voice, I had a platform, and I was worried because I didn't want to say something that I would later regret. So I pulled back. And today what we're going to talk about is the real driving force, the real force behind why I stopped doing my podcast, and that force is fear. And fear is something I talk about all the time because I work with performers, all types of different kind of performers, and we work on overcoming fear. It's part of my daily job. And I realized that there are things coming down the pipeline, but they've been coming down the pipeline. I went back and looked at the last podcast that I did when I was consistent. And it was December 24th, Christmas Eve, 2020. And what does that tell you? I was up and I was crushing it. And I was sharing with the world on Christmas Eve. And I was doing this daily for an entire year before COVID, for an entire year after COVID. And then I let fear derail me. And if you're good at math here, you'll figure out, you can do the math the way I did and realize how long has that been since you've been consistent, consistently sharing, consistently giving? And the answer is 4.5 years. I've been shackled in fear. And I decided enough's enough. Enough is enough. I will not be shackled by fear anymore, because even if one person who follows us here at the studio happens to watch today's episode and is inspired to overcome their fear, then today was worth it. In fact, I believe in my whole heart that I have a responsibility to be fearless, because there are people who look to the studio for community and for sanity. And maybe they want to know what I think and what's going on. And they'd like to hear another side of things. And so amidst all the chaos, amidst all of that is going on currently in the world, and there's a lot, I'm going to step out fearlessly and I'm going to talk about fear. And I'm going to talk about how to overcome fear. So before I jump into the catalyst for today's show, I would like to read you a Bible verse, as I often did at the beginning of my show for 2 years. And today's verse is Joshua 1:9. It says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Wow. What was I thinking? Letting 4.5 years go by, shackled in fear. Shackled because of this fear of something that did not exist. Fear of what might be if somebody didn't like my opinion on something. In this chaotic world that we've all had to live in together, I allowed the noisiest people, the people who had the biggest opinions and who were the most outrageously loud about it, stop me from sharing how I feel. And here's an example. Some of you will be offended just by the fact that I bring up what happened a few days ago on December 10th. I think it was the 10th. Wasn't it the 10th? I believe it was the 10th. Charlie Kirk, a Christian man, a conservative, he was in the political arena. He was assassinated. He was killed. And as I said before, I normally would never jump on and talk about something like this out of fear. But I'm going to jump right in because we were connected to Charlie's organization. We did training for them. I got to meet his best friend, Jack Posobiec, and we did a class together. I taught him improv, and I saw Charlie dart through. And he's a Christian conservative, was a Christian conservative. I am also a Christian conservative. So what brought forth my fear, of course, was watching him on the front lines taking all of this slings and arrows and me sitting there and letting that happen. And so I'm not going to dive deep into the who killed Charlie and why was Charlie killed and is he a good guy or is he not a good guy or any of those things that everybody's trying to debate. I'm not going to jump into that. Instead, I'm going to talk about me and my failure to face my fear, hoping that when I teach you this concept that I believe in, that I preach, that it might inspire you to overcome a fear that you might be facing currently in your life. And it might just be a performance fear. You may just be afraid to get on the stage. You may be afraid to get in front of the camera. Oftentimes, I hear this more than you would ever imagine. People are afraid to walk into our acting studio. They something comes over them in the parking lot and they get stuck. And then I hear afterward, like, I came and then I left. And a year later, I finally came. And once I came, I realized it wasn't so bad. It was, as a matter of fact, it was amazing. And I was greeted by Brian. And I was greeted by this community of people clapping for me, loving me. And I couldn't believe that I had ever been afraid. And so the key to overcoming fear, here's the secret. Here's how you do it. First of all, you must have earned confidence. If I hadn't spent my entire lifetime studying the craft of acting and listening and coaching, and I mean a lifetime. I've been doing this for over 20 years, like 25 years. That's so long. It's amazing for me to even think about how old I am. And then 2 years of daily podcasting, learning, understanding how it works, what the concepts are, how the sound is supposed to be, etc. If I didn't have that earned confidence, I couldn't just jump on here and talk today and be relaxed. So you must have earned confidence. And then the next thing, which I just mentioned, is relaxation. So here's an example. And this is from the book that I'm writing that must come out, by the way. It must. And we're going to talk about that later before I end the episode today. I'm running on this dirt road. This is a true story. I'm running down this dirt road. I'm in college. I have these headphones in, and I have my cell phone is wrapped around my arm. That used to be a thing. It was very cool back in the day to have your cell phone on your arm. And I'm running down this dirt road, and I get this feeling inside me like there's something chasing me. And so at first, I dismissed it. I'm like, yeah, just keep running. Everything's fine. And the feeling got stronger and stronger. And remember, I have headphones in, so I can't hear anything. But I just have this sense, this feeling. And I turn, and it turns out that the feeling was warranted. I look behind me, and right behind me is a pit bull. And it's running top speed, which is, obviously exponentially faster than I can run. Growling, snarling, chasing me. It's trying to hunt me down, this pit bull. And so as my life flashes through my head, I have this sort of epiphany. These options come to mind. And it's like, okay, I can run, I can play dead, or I can fight. Those are the three options I have. So I stop dead in my tracks. I take a deep breath. I turn around. I stare the dog right in the face. And I say, bad dog, no. And the dog stopped right dead in its tracks and just looked at me and stared at me and growled at me. And at that point, I had faced this fear of something that was behind me. So I was now in front of it. And the fear was sitting there just vibrating against me. And I looked that dog straight in the eyes and I said, no, go home. Bad dog, go home. I called him a bad dog. Bad dog, go home. And it growled at me and it went home. And this is a true story. This really happened. And I remember thinking, the difference between me getting chewed up like that dog's rawhide bone or strutting home with a smile on my face, feeling good about myself, the difference was a split-second decision. The options flashed before me, and I made a choice. I had to breathe, I had to relax, and I had to weigh out my options. And then I had to go for it. I had to take action in the moment. Now, how did those choices come to me? And how did I know which one to pick? Well, I'm a dog person. I like cats. My grandmother had a cat. I think cats are cool. Problem is, I am lightly allergic, and my kids are allergic. They must have got it from me. Sorry. And so because I'm allergic to cats, unfortunately, I don't get to be a cat person, whether I want to or not. So I'm a dog person. And we always had dogs growing up. My grandparents had dogs. My mom and dad had dogs. I had a dog in college. I knew about dogs. I had trained dogs. I had trained stray dogs. I had trained puppies. I studied breeds. I like dogs. I had an earned confidence about dogs. So I actually knew the right choice. I did think through the options, and I picked the option I knew to be the option that would give me the most potential for success. So I had earned confidence, but I still had to notice the fear, face the fear, relax through the fear, find the choice, and then take action. And that's how you overcome fear. You see, when I train professionals to perform at anything, and I've had the privilege of training some people who are really high-level people, my job is to create a false pressure. I need to create for you that dog. So you feel it, and then you practice relaxing in the face of fear. And I want the experience with me to be more intense than it's going to be on your performance day. So I bring a different level of intensity depending on where you are as a performer. That's my job. If you're further along as a performer, I can bring you more intensity. And if you're brand new, I bring less intensity, but I still try to push you to the brink of you overcoming what you think you're capable of doing. That's my job. I do that for business people. I do that for actors. I do it for people all the time. I help you overcome your fear. And the more you do it over and over and over and over, the repetition of that is how you overcome fear. It's how you transmute fear. It's how you take the fear and lift it up and you do something good with it. And so that's what today is all about. That's what I wanted to help all of you realize, is that I don't know if you in your life, if this relates to you, if this connects to you, if this is somehow helping. I hope it helps somebody. But I had a good friend come in, and honestly, he was here for coaching. He was here. I was coaching him today, and he helped me connect into the Holy Spirit. And he revealed in me that I had been dealing with a lot of shame. And that's true. I have been dealing with a lot of shame. You know, when someone talks into you and they're like, you know, this is what I'm feeling. Like, this is what's going on with you right now. And this guy nailed it. Shame. And where did the shame come from? My shame was coming from 4 years, 4.5 years of me being shackled, watching and consuming content online that I know darn well 95, 98, maybe even 99.9% of the content is toxic in some way, because the person talking is trying to get you to click. They're trying to get you to react. They're trying to get you emotional. So therefore it becomes addictive. And I know this to be true. I've preached about it back in 2019, back in 2020. You can watch my videos. And even though I knew it to be true, I kept consuming the content. And the reason was because I hadn't faced my own fear. I had to stop being weak and being sad and sitting on the sidelines because I was afraid of a negative comment. I can handle a negative comment. There's probably already a negative comment. I don't know. I haven't looked. I may not look because who cares? But because I was afraid of a little bit of negativity, I let all of my momentum just completely drop. And a part of me was just sitting there rotting. There was a part of me that was just like, come on, man. Get up. Live your purpose. Do more. My purpose when I did the podcast, and it's still going to be my purpose now, is going to be to help as many people as possible. I want to inspire you. I want to love you. I want to help as many people become a better version of themselves. I want to help you become a better listener. And I want to help you become a better actor in your own movie called life. That's what I'm all about. Our values here are passion, love, mastery. Passion, love, mastery. The passion is, what are you willing to sacrifice? I may have to be willing to sacrifice. A couple of people don't like me. I got to be willing to sacrifice that. Mastery is you never quit. And I quit for 4.5 years. And love. Love is in the center on purpose because I believe love must be at the center of every decision you make. And the highest form of love is tough love because it takes somebody who's willing to tell you the truth, to tell you the thing you don't want to hear, who loves you the most. That's what parents do. Parents are not going to let you misspell a word for your whole life just so you feel good and pretend you got an A when you actually got it wrong. They're going to correct you because they love you. And you may not want to hear it, but if it's the truth, they're going to tell you. The most loving person in your life is the person willing to give you tough love and tell you, hey, you're being annoying right now, or, but obnoxious, or, hey, stop doing that. The person who's willing to face you and help you get through it and willing to give you the tough love, they're the person I think that loves you the most. They're the person that's willing to get in there with you. So I had to face that for myself today, which was tough love. I had to look myself in the mirror, and I had to say, "Wow." I mean, you guys, this is like, look at the studio here, the podcast studio I've got here. I built this and then rebuilt it so that we could move our equipment easily. And have this something easy I could jump back into. I spent a lot of time and hours and effort into this over the last 4 years. I mean, while I'm not doing the podcast, I spent a lot of hours on chords, a lot of hours on organization, a lot of hours on hey, if you do the podcast, it'll be easy to do once you do it. This place is beautiful. The setup is beautiful. The setup was pretty easy because of all the work I had put in. But tough love, I wasn't doing anything about it. So here I am, stepping into my fear, jumping back into the arena, and I want to love everybody right where they are. So here's my plan. I'm going to just lay out my plan publicly here. And this is the way that I'm going to hold myself accountable, because you got to be accountable. That's another, obvious principle that I believe in wholeheartedly. So I've written this book. It's called The Best Listener in the Room. In fact, I'm giving a speech on it in a couple weeks. And I've written this book, and it's done. The book is done. It's been done for years, and I'm fine-tuning it. I'm in the last editing stage. So even though I've written it and rewritten it, it's not done because of all the turmoil that I went through. And so a lot of the things that I wrote in the book, I don't actually agree with that point anymore, or I don't agree with the example I was using, because I still agree with the point. I just didn't agree with the example I was using to drive home the point. So I was going to need to change the example. And so that was a lot of work. And somehow I just got derailed, and through research, I'd find myself trailing off into this place where, before you know it, I'm watching content again. I'm soaking in things that are sucking me down, shackling me back into fear. And I'm not going to do it anymore. So here's what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to get back to my early mornings. I'm going to get back to what I know works. And that's 4 a.m. I wake up at 4, and the first thing I do is spend time with God. I spend time in the Word of God. I pray. And I move my body. And I let this magical morning time be the time that I get it done. No matter how long it takes, I do it every day. And then what I'm going to get to do is, through that process, I will be filled and overfilled with the Holy Spirit and with what's been generated through me. And I'm going to find what spills out. And I'm going to jump here on the microphone, and I'm going to have to build momentum again, because we had an audience, and I got to rebuild it. So how do you rebuild an audience? You just do it. You get on the microphone and you just do it, and you put out content. This is not edited. I put this on an auto switch. This is live. You're getting live. So I can do this. I can do live, and you get what you get. You'll be able to comment and talk to me and ask me questions and interact. But I'm going to jump on here, and I'm going to try to give, try to love, try to inspire, based on whatever was going on with me in the morning. And then you'll know that I have a book that's ready to be published. It just needs me to put my shoulder to the wheel every day until it's done, until it's correct. Because if you know me, you know I have a high standard of excellence, and I'm not going to publish a book until it's right. And right now it's not right. I know it's not right, but I also know that with a little bit of consistency, I can easily fix this. I can easily get it back on track. And I don't know how long it's going to take. All I know is it's never going to get done if I don't jump on the horse, do it, and find a way to hold myself accountable. So what I'm asking is for anybody who's willing to follow, anybody who's willing to watch videos and comment and be a part of this process. I would love feedback from you. I'd love to hear, what do you want me to talk about? How do you want me to dive in and deal with this stuff? And the topic is the book, which is The Best Listener in the Room. And what that comes down to is dealing with your life, dealing with my life, facing things, and understanding what it takes to be the best listener in the room. And there's all these elements, and essentially what it is a personal development book designed to inspire people and to lift them up through the lens of what I've spent a lifetime doing, which is studying listening, studying acting, and being a coach for high performers. I have been in the room with, I can probably, count on more than one hand, people that I would tell you were the best listener in the room. I mean, they were extraordinary at what they do. And it's so fun and fascinating to be around those people. And I've learned so much, and I want to share that with the world. That's my goal. Okay, so bringing this thing full circle, and I'm going to wrap it up. Going back to fear. I challenge you today to do something small that takes you toward overcoming a fear that you're dealing with right now. And you may be like me. You may have been stuck for years in something and you just needed it to be revealed. Great. Take a step. Because you can't fix it. You can just go after it. But like the dog, you have to take action. If you don't make the choice and then take action, then you're going to be talking about it. You're going to be thinking about it. And the next thing you know, you're going to get dragged back down and you're going to get stuck. And I don't want that for you, and I don't want that for me. So you're going to pick one thing and you're going to take one small step toward overcoming that fear. And what's going to happen over time is you're going to use the fear that's been sitting there in the darkness, and you're going to bring it up into the light. And from there, you'll be able to glorify God through you overcoming that thing that's gnawing inside you. And that's what I want for you guys. So I'll end there. For anybody who needs to hear it, for anybody who's been really struggling over the last few days, as I have, I want to tell you that I'm with you, and I'm sorry. I actually coached Charlie's wife back when we were younger. She had won a Miss Arizona pageant, and I got to coach her to go to nationals. And so I know Erica. My wife knows Erica, and we love her. We love everybody. We love the Kirks, and we are praying for you. And anybody who's struggling right now, who's trying to make sense of all this, I understand it's very difficult, very tough. And just know that you're not alone, okay? And that's all. That's it for today. We talked about facing fear. We talked about the fear that I've been living in, that I've been stuck in. And this is it. If you got to watch today, you're a part of day one of me facing that fear and no longer being suffocated by it. So thank you so much for watching. This is Matthew Deering, and this is the best listener in the room. Thank you.